Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome. It's good to see you guys. Looking forward to seeing what's coming through for the month of September for you. It's been actually a very peaceful morning as I've been tuning into all of the signs, I would say all of the energy for your sign rather. And I think that portends good things. We'll take a moment here just to kind of look at the messages and look at the cards. But already I'm getting a sense of calm and ease. So I hope that permeates the reading as well. As you can tell, Apollo's hair is all over the place. He just woke up from a nap, but I wanted to bring him up here to hopefully bring you some calm as well. If you're brand new to my channel, let me just quickly introduce myself. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and as I just said, we're going to be looking at Sun, Rising, and Moon for Sagittarius, and this will be intended for the month of September. Because this is live and because of the way that I read, a lot of the messages that are coming through right now may resonate because I'm a big proponent of free will, and as we look at the past and deep past, there's going to be things that you can use right here and now. Also, I channel, so the first part of the reading is going to involve working through all of these channeled messages, and a lot of that may pertain to those of you that showed up, whether you're watching it live or on replay. So just a little setup there. Let me also talk about the four main parts of the reading. The first part is all those channeled messages on the table. Today, it's been mostly coming through channeled writing. So basically I meditate, I focus what I see, hear, and feel. I put it down on a card, and then I'll talk about how that kind of connected. There were a couple things that came through dreams, and I'll also mention that as well. Then we're going to move along to the Celtic Cross, and that is going to basically give us a little bit more detail on specific opportunities, potential blocks, etc. And I let that take on whatever energy it needs to, and then we'll go into health, wealth, love, and destiny after that. I'll summarize everything, and then at the very end, we're going to look at the soul path. Every month that changes. It's based on what we see here and also what comes through the cards. And after we go a little deeper into the soul path, which is going to help you with the rest of the year, then I'm going to help you integrate it in a meditation and sound bath. So a lot in store, hopefully a lot of fun as well for you. So let's get into it. Two quick sort of notes before that. First of all, I would like to welcome everyone. If you just joined, I'd like to thank my moderators, Ryan and Maria. They're great at helping keep a safe space, answer questions. If you have any questions while I'm talking, you can direct it to them and they'll answer it. Speaking of questions, I don't do Q&A here. I know a lot of readers will take sort of viewer questions. I can't do that because as I start to get into my own channel, that would pull me out of it. So this is going to be a lot of information. It should resonate for you. But if you want to show support, you can use the super chat or super sticker functionality. It's right next to the emojis. And you can just send a sticker or say something positive. And that's a great way to continue to support the channel, help me upgrade my cards and equipment, and just show up here. So if you want to do that, much appreciation. When this is on replay, I'll pin a comment that just says thank you and call you out by name. So let's get into the business at hand, which is again September. And the first thing that came through, and this was actually this morning's dream, and then I meditated on it to further articulate what that was really about for you, was focusing on an attic space. And so basically that space between the top floor and the roof. And for me, I was looking at both the symbology of that. For me, I was actually thinking like crown chakra, your head, but also kind of what we keep in physical spaces like that in our houses, closets and attics. A lot of times what happens is you just push stuff there that you don't need anymore, right? And instead of either selling it, giving it away, putting it in the rubbish bin, or just sort of like otherwise moving it where it needs to be moved, we store it for a rainy day. We store it because there's a sentimental attachment to it. We store it because we don't care. And so it just starts to build and aggregate, and it creates this sort of like a barnacle of energy. So if you have a physical space in your house like that, either an attic or a closet or an empty room that you're kind of using for storage, first and foremost, literally, this would be a good time to go in there and look at the stuff that you're putting in that space and thinking, why am I holding on to it? Also, what does this sort of holding on do? A lot of times it traps, attracts, and even prevents energy from moving the way it should be moving. So when you clear it, you actually open a new flow of energy. So of course there's different types of people that work with just clearing and organizing spaces. And if you need help with that, you could work with them, but you can also just use your own skills. And usually it's kind of like if we touch a stone and we get a good feeling from it, we know it's good. You can do the same thing with items in your house. So if there's something that you've been holding on to for years, what's the memory attached to it? And could you go into the memory and maybe clear the energy in the memory and then not need that thing anymore? There are some things, of course, we want to hold on to, especially if it's a cherished item of jewelry or this or that. But if it's just like a vacuum cleaner or something that you did in high school and you're in your 30s or 40s, maybe it's time to release some of these things so that we can move into the next era, okay? So clear the mental, energetic, and the actual cobwebs. It could be in any space. It could also be here. And the mental cobwebs are a little bit trickier because sometimes what happens is they can be repetitive ways of thinking, right? It could be the conversation that you had with someone earlier in the week that just is sticking in your head. Maybe it was an argument. Maybe it was just something that you can't quite let go of because it didn't jive the right way with you. So what you want to kind of understand is like, why am I holding on to it? What can I do to release it? How can I start to focus on some other things? Because that fixation is it has a sticky quality, just like the cobwebs, and it also has a blocking quality. So it's not letting you get to the next thing. So forgiveness, release, or just simply redirection could be a powerful way for you to be more productive, more abundant right here and right now. Ultimately, what I'm trying to help you do is to create a new energetic flow. The other thing that I was seeing in my meditation was kind of like floating on the water or floating on a raft. It was nice because I was being held up. It's almost like I was in something like one of those rich salt water bodies that like what is it, the Dead Sea or something like that, where you can you can't even get into the water. It really felt like the energy was pushing me up. And so when you let things go, when you surrender a little bit, all of a sudden the universe can start to help you get to your next path. There's some things that we'll have to talk about with that, but the energetic flow is what I'm trying to open up. The next piece that we should think about with this is when you let go of something, it doesn't mean it will never come back. It doesn't mean that there's an empty space. What it means is there's room for something bigger, better, etc. to grow. You always want to have a little bit of space or that growth can't happen. For those of you that garden, it's wonderful to have, just all these plants that are overflowing and everything. But at a certain point, the growth can actually choke out future growth, and you'll notice that things will die. So it's important to periodically go in and pull some things out, to prune things, to make new starts, put them somewhere else. In our life, we're doing the same thing. If we push too much in one space and we kind of suffocate ourselves, whether it's like working too much in one job, whether it's filling your house up too much with things and there's no room for new people or new belongings, we need to have space for growth and movement, okay? Both from a just clear common sense perspective to actually an energetic flow. Because when you release it, what you're actually telling the universe is, I understand the message. I've incorporated and integrated the learning. And now I no longer need to call in the same thing. I'm ready for a better experience, a higher version of that, or something new that is going to lift me or bring me into a different sort of plateau or different phase. So that's really what releasing does for you, is it opens things up. Now, this is funny because as I wrote it down, it reminded me, I had to Google it just to remind myself of the exact phrase. But what my guides were kind of whispering in my ears was, what next? Where do you want to go? And it reminded me of a not so popular Microsoft campaign in the 90s, like back when Windows 95 came out, where the campaign was, where do you want to go today? I mean, it was probably right after that because they did a different thing around there. But there was something around like, where do you want to go? It's actually, the campaign for a company makes no sense, but as a message from my guides to you, it makes a lot, because I can't tell you, they can't tell you. You need to decide. One of the things that is coming through is be discerning and state intent, because when you know where you're going to be, so I would maybe even rephrase it and say, know who you are and know where you're going. And that would have been stronger. But yeah, so know where you're going and state the intent, because when you have that knowledge, when you have that feeling like, I want to do this, I'm ready for this, I'm open to this, any of those things are examples of how to put the intention out there. What happens is you're not just floating on a raft. Now you have 2 oars and you have a beacon that you can follow on the horizon. And Spirit's moving you, you're moving yourself, and you know where you're going. You can be more effective. Otherwise, what's happening is, I feel in your sign there is a choice between serendipity and synchronicity. Serendipity is a happy accident. It's fun, it's nice, and if it happens, great. It probably means you were still ready for it, but you weren't as effective, and you maybe weren't as awake in stumbling upon the serendipitous event. A synchronicity is much more powerful. First of all, you're doing everything in your power to open it up, and you're also in the sort of flow of manifestation. And when the synchronicity hits, it's like jackpot, where serendipity may just be kind of nice. The synchronicity is really, really big. So what I want to open you up to is being like High Priestess energy, not the Fool. The Fool is serendipity. The High Priestess is synchronicity. She knows what she's doing. She's trying to make it all happen, and then she lets it go, and then it pops up in the universe. So you are kind of stumbling upon a period over the next 3 to 6 months where the seeds that you plant in September can open up those synchronicities in the future. I still feel like some auspicious and positive things are in store for you. That's the serendipity piece, but I want you to open them up even more and have them be even more powerful. So let's just imagine you were having a one-on-one with me today. I would ask you, and I would have you kind of meditate and work on this if you don't have the answer. What are you trying to do with your life? Are you happy? What's bothering you? What do you want to change about it? How do you want to change it? Think about some of those things. You don't have to have answers to all of them, but answers to at least one of them would be really helpful in tapping into the energy in September and allowing for this to be a really effective month and a productive month, okay? Once you've stated your intent, then listen. The universe speaks with a whisper, so do my guides. It popped up on a microphone on one of the readings this month on Cancer. I think it was Cancer. But it's not always even just a whisper. So for me, sometimes I'll just be going about my day and I get a very clear sort of persistent thought, do this, check in on this, or it would be good to send this email or whatever. When you are in the flow, the universe doesn't have to use a megaphone, right? Yeah, that's what it's called. Or it doesn't have to sort of like bombastically push something in your face. It's just going to kind of subtly move you and you'll pick up on that. When it does come through loud, like a loudspeaker, that's not fun. That's more of a tower energy. So I'm trying to get you into your star energy where you can hear it, you can sense it, you can go into that flow and you're fine. And I think that as you start to know what you're doing, you'll pick up on all of the signs. You'll recognize the synchronicities. Listen to your heart, really pay attention to your dreams over the next month or so, because I feel like some of the powerful messages could come through that as well. The other thing that I've been seeing a lot, and I even talked in one of the signs about this, was judgment. And for you, it popped into my third eye again. But the feeling that I got was from many of you is just to trust your judgment. And judgment in reverse, a lot of times if it comes up in a reading, will appear when somebody knows what to do, but they haven't sort of fully accepted or embraced that they're going to do it, because maybe it requires extra work. Maybe they're not they're not sort of trusting themselves. They're not completely sure. So I feel like a lot of you are ready to make the necessary changes and decisions in your life. All that is needed is for you to say, yeah, I'm going to do this. Because the universe is also waiting for that. If you can't really sort of surrender to the next thing, then it can't happen, or it's going to happen a lot slower. There's going to be a lot more sort of like blocks as you're trying to get there. So trust yourself, make that decision, get into the flow, know where you're going, clear any of the old habits that you might be having, and also the old attachments in your life as well. And that will help the flow happen more effectively. But the thing that keeps coming into my mind's eye is, instead of floating on your back or floating on a raft, I want you to have 2 oars and know where you're going, because you'll get there faster. And I think that's the big thing for you this month, is to to be the creator or kind of opening up of like synchronicities rather than just depending on happy accidents. Next message that I got was about happiness. And a lot of times I will have a client session with somebody. I do client readings on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. But a lot of times we'll focus almost completely on something external, like a relationship, a job, an environment. And what really is going on with people a lot of the times is there's something inside that's not happy. They're not happy. They're not kind of like clear on it. And so what they're trying to do is externally find a way to fill that. So what I wanted to remind you this today, actually, because I was seeing like the Ace of Cups upright, is that happiness is found within, not externally. The environment is a mirror. If something is happening in that mirror, in a relationship, in a job situation, in a friendship, in your family, it's going to be hard, but like bless and release that, especially if it's something that you don't like, because that was a lesson. The person came through not to torture you, not because they're bad, but because they're a teacher and you're receiving a lesson. When you integrate the lesson, which by the way, you called in on a soul level, then the person can fall out of the category of the whatever actor they're being right now. So if there's someone who's coming through and they're sabotaging, or if there's someone coming through and they're not telling the truth or whatever, this is helping you kind of get through trust issues. And what you could think to yourself is, I'm going to release you. I don't enjoy you in this role. I'm going to recast you. So either you're going to show up differently or you're just going to stop showing up. So this role has been deleted from my play. I'm going to recast you, and are you willing to take the new role? So you can kind of cosmically put that out to them and imagine that they could be better. I talked about this in another sign. And if they can't show up, you'll allow someone else to step into that role. So think to yourself, that role doesn't suit me. How about this? Let's see if they can do it. If they can't, I want that instead. And then also, why did they come in? Is there something about myself where my communication seems to indicate that that's okay? If so, then I need better limits. Maybe I need to speak up sooner, et cetera, et cetera. Change yourself and the world will change with you and around you. Simply moving into a new house, into a new relationship, or changing something physically about yourself, it's a step in the right direction, but in and of itself, it won't create the full change that you desire. It has to be from within and then also around you with the external. So yeah, inside out, basically, if I had to pick a top level word that I didn't put on the cards, is what I would say: make the changes from the inside out. And know that happiness, fulfillment, contentment, clarity, it all happens in here, it happens here. And then people around you are like little satellite dishes, and they're picking up on the signals. So if you don't like the satellites around you, broadcast a different frequency. Like, enough is enough. You're not welcome. I want a different person. Or I see something that you don't see. Can you see it? And if they can't see it, that's not on you. At least you're showing them that it's possible. And that helps. And then that's probably also why judgment came through for you. It's about releasing judgments on yourself and others and opening up the space for them to be more than what they were or what they have been. This starts to bring us into higher frequency thoughts now. Now I'm seeing things like the toolkit in front of you. Now, let's imagine you're the magician. The magician, of course, has one of each element. I also think, there could be a light worker card too. And the three elements or the three things that came through for this light worker card that doesn't exist that I saw were faith, hope, and perseverance. Faith being that you believe you can do it. You believe in someone else, even if they don't believe in themselves. And you hold out the hope that what you're seeing for yourself, for others, for something that you're doing can come true. Hope is that candle that's going to get you through the dark nights and going to get you through the sort of doubt that you might have. Keep going to that light, see it getting brighter, keep putting energy into it. The perseverance is what actually makes that a torch instead of a little candle. So faith, hope, perseverance. Think of these as your toolkit to get through this month and also through your life. They're really, really effective, and they're what's helped me many, many times. Reminds me of another commercial where Liz Taylor would give people diamonds. These brought me luck. I would say, these brought me luck. Good luck with those, okay? This is a lot more effective than some piece of jewelry, though. This is going to literally be something that can change your life if you can connect with faith, hope, and perseverance. Perseverance will continue to feed these two things too. We're at a point in the planet right now where we can't afford to give up. We can't afford to lose faith, and hope will bring us through. And I think we're already starting to see shifting and movement. I always believe that in this particular universe, light has a little bit more energy. Back in the beginning, what we see, all the stars in the galaxy, all the planets and everything, there was sort of matter and antimatter. And what you see is the positive that was left over. There was a little bit more, because otherwise most of it got consumed, but there were these little tiny things. There's a lot of leftovers, and this is the strongest stuff. You're the strongest stuff because you're part of that kind of war between matter and antimatter, or light and dark. And everything in this galaxy has light, and this universe has light within it, even the dark elements. So we're all capable of tapping into the light. And I believe that at least within this reality, there's a little bit more energy in the light. So keep going into it. Even the shadows, again, I've always said that there's something that's casting the shadow. There's light, there's a light source, and you need light to see the shadow. So I believe that you don't have to be afraid. Just find your light. Shine that light into the shadow and see what's causing it, what it is. It may be you, it may be something else, it might be a blessing. When we can't fully see the outline, we don't know what we're dealing with. Knowledge is power, that's why. Once you know what you're dealing with, then fear goes away. Great things are really something that usually take a little bit of work. So what I put here is that they're rarely easy to achieve. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. All of the little twists and turns that you have in the road, even the setbacks, these create context. Context allows you to have appreciation and grounding will allow you to sustain the abundance and not take it for granted. Not think that it's always going to happen. You'll look at how hard you worked, and then you'll also preserve some of the fruits of that labor. So I think it's better sometimes to work for something and then achieve it and then celebrate it and truly realize, like, this doesn't happen all the time. This is amazing. I'm appreciative, and I'll work hard for the next thing too. So don't feel entitled to something, work hard for it, but then when it happens, really feel like you did deserve that. It's the hard work the entitlement comes after the hard work. But even then, it's sort of like we're on this planet to learn. And when these things happen, that's great, but it's really the learning and the integration. That's what we're taking with us on the soul level. So you're already winning if you can integrate the messages. And title, status, money, looks, clothing, brands, diamonds, who cares? It does not go with you. It will not go with you to the next lifetime. Work on the soul stuff. That's the most important thing. We've lost focus with that over the past couple of years because there's been a lot of distractions, but it's important to keep working on your higher self. And when I have sessions with some of you, I really want to know what you're trying to do. I might start to make that part of my intake form, which is, what are you trying to accomplish in your life? Because I think you need to have that. It's going to help you, and meditate on it if you don't. All right. As we start to feel this appreciation and this hope and start to work hard, there are a couple things here also in this higher energy that I want to bring up. First of all, assume that the universe is working in your benefit and that you're blessed. Curses only happen when you believe that they can happen, or that you give that energy, or you literally say, I am bad at this. That's actually a way of you blocking yourself. So if you say, I don't have luck with dating, men, women, whatever, I don't have luck with business, nobody likes me, you're actually reinforcing something that may or may not exist, but you're creating your reality. So bless yourself instead and say, I'm ready for an easier experience with work. I'm ready now for a relationship where my partner comes in and I'm not cleaning up their mess because I just cleaned up my own attic and my own cobwebs and everything. I'm ready for a partner who's done the same, and I'm ready to wait if I have to for that person. but I'm going to open up to the universe that maybe I could be surprised with something happening sooner, because I'm also ready to stop waiting. So put some blessings and some affirmative thoughts in there. Bless yourself, don't curse yourself, is what I would say with that. It's a stronger energy. There's a song by Kate Bush, and it's Running Up That Hill. And it's a cool thing. It's about a relationship that's kind of in trouble. And what she was hoping for was that they could trade places so that they could understand each other better. In the song, she said, she's kind of had a phrase like, what if I made a deal with God and we could swap places? Originally, she said she was going to do it as a deal with the devil. She said, but a deal with God would be so much stronger. And I agree, like, why are we putting dark energy out there? And we shouldn't even use those phrases. So she's like, no, it would be in the light. And so I agree with that. And I think it's a cooler song. And then she's also running up that hill. Let's go towards something new. And you have to put the work in. And that's kind of part of that as well. So I liked that she had that moment where she could have gone between the shadow and the light. She chose the light. And she realized, in her own words, that there was more power with making a deal with God, because God has more power. So anyway, I want you to kind of go into that energy and feel like the universe has your back, that you can make those higher judgments, those higher decisions, just like she did in that, and good things can come through. Your heart has to really be into this, though. It's the heartfelt gratitude that is going to help you get into that abundant flow. Finally, and then I want to get into the cards here. All this clearing that we've been doing is also putting out a sort of question, and you need to, it will happen when you answer yes, but are you ready to grow? Because we're making room for that growth, but there has to be this sort of willingness to surrender to the new path, to also put the work in, and to kind of go down that new path ahead of you. So I believe that if you're ready, we see some great changes on the horizon for you. And some of what today's reading has been about thus far has sort of been like reprogramming. It's like the operating system that you're running on is receiving an upgrade. And like any upgrade, some programs work, some don't afterwards. So what you're going to see over the course of September is sort of a change of guard with some of the friends, a change of guard with maybe what you're bringing in as far as work opportunities and other things. I think it could be a really nice change too. All right, let's take a look now at the cards. And at this point, I'm going to remain quiet while I set everything up. But afterwards, we'll break through each and every message and relate it to the month ahead. So thank you so much. It's interesting because we have a couple messages that mirror what we were talking about here. Clearly here in the flow, which is what was part of the first channeled messages, and also divine timing, which follows into the synchronicities that I was talking about. So I like it when we see some synchronicities here as well. and the observe card here, which is talking about listening. So a lot in your expanded forecast, which is absolutely connecting to what was coming through in the channeled messages. You got 2 cards for your catalyst. I was feeling it, and this deck has a way sometimes of sending a surprise card in. So for whatever reason, it wanted you to have a little bit more. So the first card I love, actually. I feel like a lot of us have been spending time this year in the hermit phase, and it's talking about renewing and recharging. I'll put my glasses on because some of these captions are small. And what I want you to do right now in this period, if you're still kind of in the hermit phase, what's powerful about this is you can start to understand what it is you're trying to do. So when I was asking those questions, where are you going? What's your purpose? What are you trying to accomplish? You've got to sometimes go within. I mean, I can't answer that for you. You're going to have to answer that for yourself. I can help you see things. I can help you see the tools that you have in the sort of soul leanings, and we'll go through some of that today because he came through. But ultimately, you should be able to feel it out. So as we keep working month to month, you'll get there. What we see here is this cool little spirit fox here saying, trust your talents in changing times. What a wonderful message. This deck has been around for a couple years. I believe Kyle Gray made it. He's a great, he does great oracle decks, and the illustrators he chooses are amazing. But what I like about this is, for some of you, you might be relying on something that you haven't used in a while. I've talked a lot about being willing to repackage yourself as something else. So, you know, if you are, maybe you studied English, but, you know, there's not a lot of teaching jobs. You've maybe not had success writing, and you're thinking, I could still take my communication skills and use them in a different way. I could work as in a marketing job. I could be a journalist. I could repackage this in some other way. So take what your skill is and think, what else can I do with this? This is a pretty universal skill. If you want to learn something new, I don't know if we didn't get the 8 of Pentacles, but this could be a great time. We got the 3 of Pentacles, which is also college and university. So you could just learn a new trade. Usually 8 of Pentacles is apprenticeship, but at any rate, this is still higher learning. So this could be a chance to take something that you haven't used, but maybe always wanted to, or take something that you have and develop it in a different way. So really kind of think about it a little bit. And like I said, you're going to have a whisper of insight or intuition that comes through. This little fox is there playfully trying to show you, how about this? Look over here. Kind of like when my dog will walk over and throw a toy at me, subtly saying, let's go for a walk, Dad. Listen and kind of follow that path. And you have talents, you have skills that can be used. It just involves a change. Okay, slight change for you. Let's take a look at all of the cards and see what additional messages come through. At the center, we have the 4 of Cups, which is a perspective card. And for some of you, I actually really love the way this one was illustrated. We can see that hidden blessing or opportunity that's just out of your periphery, just out of plain sight. So sometimes we're focusing so much on, in particular, what isn't working, right? This is 2020. There's a lot of cards that can be 2020, but this is a good example of that, which is, this isn't what I signed up for. Why is this happening? Why didn't this work out? Why is this taking so long? How come this isn't the way I thought it would be? Meanwhile, there's something here, your little spirit fox saying, but what about that? Have you thought about this? And so I want you to go above, basically. It's okay to be angry. For those of you, especially right now, at least here in the States, I know that it's kind of back to school time for younger kids especially. And this is a challenging time at best. And it's so disjointed. Some places are going to school, some places are not. Most of them have truncated schedules. It's crazy. With work, same thing. It's sort of this hodgepodge of being furloughed or working from home, or maybe being in the office, but being worried about it because of exposure. You're allowed to be upset. But start to think of other ways to do business and start to think of other things that you can do. And for those of you that happen to be creative, what I'd like for you to do over this period of time is to put some logs in the fire, because once things start to take off in the years ahead, The work that you're doing now will be the thing that keeps you warm and keeps you satisfied and keeps you held up. You can't give up just because there's some difficult turbulence right now. You always have to keep going a couple steps ahead. And I've been talking to a few signs about that this month. This is a further development of that, which is telling me that you have to do some physical work this month to move it forward. You can do it. That's what we see right on top of it is the strength card. And also people are looking to you possibly to fix some of these things. This is a strong divine feminine card, but all of us can benefit from the energy that we see here, which is if I don't like what I'm seeing and it's not working, I'm going to step into that position to change things. It's a pushy card. It's one of the pushiest cards, actually. She's not reversed, so I don't feel like she's overstepping her bounds. I feel like she's coming in exactly when she needs to, and she's saying, hey, I'm not going to take this anymore. I'm going to make a change. I'm going to go for this, and I'm going to speak up, and now is the time to kind of receive that because we need to make the movement happen. Notice on this one that she's not opening the mouth of this beast here. It looks like it's some sort of wild boar. Normally you would see like a lion or a tiger or something like that with this card. But in the traditional thing, she's actually opening the mouth. And I don't like that as much because sometimes you could infer that she's putting words in someone's mouth or she's trying to control the dialogue. Not on this one. She's actually trying to show someone that might be a little stubborn. How about this? So gentle leadership can actually tame the beast, whoever that might be or whatever that might be in your life. If you're just consistent, persistent, strong, communicative, and help the person in your life see the possibility, because it could be an external person that's having the Four of Cups moment as well, then you can lead them out of that. So you can lead yourself, you can also lead others to a better place and to getting to this hidden cup, this hidden opportunity, okay? And yeah, it's exciting. The most important thing that I love with this is that one, there's a hidden blessing. Two, you have what it takes to make the change that's necessary in your life. And I already felt like the change was there and you knew what to do. These cards are showing me that that's definitely part of this process for you. Let's face it, some of you are feeling stuck. We have the Hanged Man, it's reversed. The cool thing with the Hanged Man in reverse is it's showing me that changes are starting to happen for you. And it's important for you to focus on the new day and what's possible. When it's upright, it actually reminds me of the Trikonasana pose. I think I said it right in yoga, where you actually kind of stand like this with your leg pointed in. And so what I want you to focus on this month is grounding yourself so that you, and being willing to look at things from a different perspective. The Hanged Man is powerful because it is sort of saying, this isn't making sense. What if I spend some time and look at it from another angle? And then when you're ready, stand up, be grounded, be firm now in knowing that none of it was wasted time. All that's important is that you're like awake and aware right now. So wherever you're at in your awakening, now is the time to make some movement and to see some things happening. In this particular deck, he looks a little bit like a green man too. So to me, whenever I see green man, I see growth, I see abundance, okay? I'm not surprised. A lot of times when I see Seven of Swords, I'll see Five of Swords. Sometimes Four of Cups and Five of Cups are sibling cards, and we do see both of them here. What's cool is we're starting to see more opportunities come through. So as you start to open up, as you start to shift and turn perspective, we're now seeing more than one thing. So some of you might actually have a couple of strong opportunities to look at when we're looking at the available upright cups here. And I want you to start to reconsider, okay? Something different, something better, something new. And also choosing to look at what's possible and what's positive as well. All right, let's look now at the crowning card, which is Three of Pentacles. So recognition. For those of you that have worked hard on something, we always see like a master crafts person here, and they're doing something that warrants recognition. So if you work hard, if you put in that sort of the time, the energy, the blood, sweat, and tears, it will pay off. For those of you that are trying to finish something, it could literally be construction on a project. It can also be a higher education degree. It could be just a big change in your life that you're trying to do. Just don't give up. This is about honoring that higher vision. Sometimes it's only you. In all of these, almost every single deck, when you see this card, there are people watching and there's one person doing. we see your strength at the center. We now see your action being sort of recognized here as well. So don't be afraid to take action. Don't be afraid to roll up your sleeves, even if your title would not normally allow you to do it. Your expertise, your work, your hard energy is needed there this month. And I would say just in general to make you reach your new heights. This is also a card for writers. So if any of you are trying to put something into writing, whether it's a contract or it's literally some sort of a curriculum, a book, or a message, this card is showing you that it's important for you to just keep showing up and doing this. Your outcome card is a celebratory card. And so I like the combination of 3 of Pentacles and 3 of Cups. We actually see the 3 cups right here. If you kind of look at it, and we even see the same robe and the same, almost the same colors. He's different. But what we're seeing here is recognition for hard work and then a celebration that's well deserved. So it may not happen immediately because we see that in the distant future. But what I'm seeing is a connection and a validation of what it is you're trying to do. So don't give up. That's my message as I look at 3 of Pentacles and 3 of Cups. So finish what you've started if it's a book or a project. Embark on something if you want to, if it's training or school. Roll up your sleeves and speak or do something if you have to, because the combination of strength and 3 of Pentacles shows me that people care and will relate to what you're doing. Okay. Near future. All right. This is the first card that kind of has a little bit of, this is the only fear-based card that I see, but it's also highly intuitive. So the Moon card is coming through, and this is the whisper of the universe, basically. But sometimes what it whispers we don't want to hear or we're afraid of. Maybe because it excites us. Sometimes when we see a possibility, it's like, am I ready for that? Is that really going to happen? And then our brain starts getting in the way of allowing it to happen. For some of you, you might just be going to a worst case scenario. Trust your instinct. Even if you have been trained out of your instinct, you can find it again. And that's a message that doesn't come through often with this card, but that's what I'm focusing on today. You see in this a wild dog, like a wolf, and a domesticated dog. What do we have here but a spirit fox? So that's something that's wild. What I want you to go back to is what you were not taught to do, and go to like instinctually what makes sense instead of what on paper makes sense or what people around you are telling you to do. Because it's your singular voice, your rebellious side, your unusual energy that is going to distinguish you and make you stand out in these changing times. The establishment is always catching up. Okay, we'll take the instance of someone that's fashionable. A lot of times you look at them and you think they're crazy. 3 or 4 years later, all of a sudden, whatever they were wearing and you thought was clashing is the new thing. They're way ahead of the trend. A lot of times, if you are really trying to create something new and like a singular product, sometimes it takes a while for the industry to catch up with it. And you just want to make sure that you've patented it and you've got a good distributor and you have the rights, because once it takes off, you're there. So I want you to go into, basically, if the message here is unlearn what you've learned and trust what you internally know. Really focus on third eye, and beyond that, this is like the animal brain with the Moon card. This is when you meet somebody, a lot of times you'll have an initial intuition or a feeling like, I like you, or you're trouble. And you should trust that, because it's probably 9 times out of 10 very, very accurate. Or it's giving you it's like when I put on my glasses, you can see something just a little bit clearer when you focus on that. So you already know what's right and wrong. You already know who to trust. Go into that and don't overthink. We're not seeing a lot of, like, this is a doing card. It's learning and doing, but this is trusting that. So if you can allow your intuition to work through you, just like this master crafts person here, then you can do it. You can be an artisan. You can bring some sort of a great work forward. But sometimes people get in the way of you being able to do that because they don't understand. They're not intentionally trying to hold you back. They may be trying to protect you in the case of a mother or father or a teacher. They may be jealous in the case of a coworker. They may be territorial in the case of a boss. They may be a frenemy. Whatever's going on, it's not necessarily that they're bad. It's just sort of like they're protecting their own interests. So this time around, I want you to trust that it's okay, even if you're not getting the external validation. Maybe they're just peering around the corner trying to figure out, how's he doing that? How's she doing that? How's that working? So silence Doesn't mean that it's rejection. It may be curiosity. Criticism may not matter if the sources don't understand what you're doing. Of course, you want to take constructive elements to heart, but if there's other things that don't go through your own filter of the moon card, you don't have to worry about it so much, okay? As we look at your soul this month, it's seeking balance. We have the Two of Pentacles, which is always a choice of how much you want to put into one area or the other. Whenever you look at juggling, you're not always holding everything. You're typically only having one or two things. Usually there's a third thing in the air because usually two things you're not really juggling, usually two, unless you're learning. It's like 3, 4, 5, but the key is you're never touching all of them. You're having them at various phases of ascension or descension. So for you this month, even in this illustration, you can see, well, one thing is more deserving of your energy. The other thing might have to give a little bit. It could be work-life balance. It could be how much you're sleeping and having to work. There is an elasticity to this, so you can't go constantly in one direction. The other thing is going to need your attention. So you're going to need to cycle things through, but sometimes you can throw things up higher a little bit so you can focus on this and then you can catch it. So you've got a little bit of a juggling act this month with respect to your priorities. The thing with the Two of Pentacles is I always see that it's possible for you to find the balance. It's just choices, right? You may surprise yourself and you may be able to throw a third thing in the mix. We didn't see it, but that's what we're kind of having with the Three of Pentacles. You have both. The Three of Pentacles is when you're focused and you're able to multitask a little bit better. So don't fall off your game. It would be better to push something off into the distance for a little bit if we're literally looking at how far something is. This could be either, if we kind of go into a very tangible thing, it could be scope or deadline, so that you are saying, I'll do this, but I'm going to do it in December. I'll do this, but I'm not going to do all of it. I'm going to focus on this and I'll release the other part next year. Or I'm going to clean this room today and the kitchen tomorrow. Like, those little choices are how you can manage everything. Distance and scope are the Two of Pentacles for you this month, okay? The other one would, of course, be money, budget. There's actually something in that I learned in my years in business. It's kind of like the iron triangle, I think it was called, and those are the three things. But I'm only seeing two of them. So you're going to have two elements that you're going to be moving across. So it's going to be time, budget, or scope. And you're going to look at things and think, how much do I want to do? How much do I want to spend? How quickly can I do it? Those things will help you. One of them has to stay fixed, and one of them is going to get your attention, and that's your Three of Pentacles. All right. As we look at your environment, it's holding space pretty much right now. Four of Wands is a wonderful, auspicious, positive energy. Even in the reverse state, it's telling me you're doing something right. For some of you, you're sick of waiting, though, because we have the Four of Wands in reverse and we have the Hangman in reverse. Hangman upright is just saying, hey, it's a pause. Hangman reverse is saying, I'm tired of waiting. Why? And this is showing me potentially why. For some of you, you're waiting for that person or those people to show up. You're waiting for the support that you've lent so often to others to come forth for you. You may have to continue leading and asking for what you need this month, communicating in different ways to set people up to be successful in your relationships together. Because they're there, there's room, that energy is around you, but it is a little passive this month. You are in a sort of leadership role, and you can handle it. You can do it. You're strong. You're a little stubborn, Sagittarius. You can handle this. And so just be firm in that and think, all right, it's not exactly what I wanted to do, but I'm going to do it. And like always, you can push through and find your inner fire, which you will. Okay. All right. We have the Princess of Cups card here in the possibility space. So Princess is a page. Four of Wands is a relationship card. There is something going on for some of you with how much you're putting into a relationship, and if you feel committed, and the commitment message is coming through because we have the Three of Cups, which to me is exploratory. It can be fun, it can be celebratory, but it's usually not a card of commitment. So on a very high elevated level, for those of you that have a core relationship that matters right now, it could be that you're married, that you're dating someone long-term, you could have a roommate situation or a partnership, whatever your strongest relationship is. The question that I would sort of be asking myself and the partners, how committed are we to each other? Because it seems like there's some distraction. Some of you, the commitment may be more towards work. Some of you, it may be more towards social or fun. But there's something about this situation that seems to me to be suggesting that you need to focus on what matters. So if the two of you are having trouble connecting, or if you have a difference of opinion, or if you have different goals, take a moment and look at that and think, am I always the one that has to make it happen? Because maybe you're looking for a strength type energy coming into your life. So one of the powerful things that you can also do is sort of say, I don't want to have these conversations anymore. We're both adults. You know what I want. If we have something where I have to keep communicating and keep laying it all out, it's just showing me that you're not trying, or, so sort of set up the expectations and say, I believe in you. You're strong. You can do this. I want to start to see you do it. So whether that's you talking to a kid, your friend, your parent, a teacher, a lover, feels like there's this opportunity to sort of say, show me what you've got. I know you've got this. Like, I want to be pleasantly surprised and have you step into this success. You can do it. And I think it would be great for the two of us if you do that, because then I can focus on some other stuff. I don't want to be telling you what to do all the time. So for some of you, that's the conversation. For some of you, it's about trust. The moon card comes through when there's something you need to talk about. So maybe you've actually not had the talk about being exclusive if it's a love relationship. And this is about, are we ready for that? And there's some doubt with the two of these. So again, I think there's a priority shift for many of you. It just seems like you want to focus on work. That's your, or personal development. There's nothing wrong with that. That's your crowning card. So just be honest with yourself and others, and that's going to help quite a bit. For those of you that are single and happy, I actually see some pretty good energy around this. This is, again, something really worth your time and energy in a work product. This is about a team that you can assemble. But you're going to either need to have a good leader, or you're going to have to be the leader to get this done. And one of the biggest things across all relationships this month is motivation and reciprocity. So if you can fix those things, then ultimately things will be okay. I'm not seeing any arguments. We have the Four of Wands. That's friendship. That's support. Go into these conversations with appreciation and vision. So I love you. I think we're doing great. There's something that I need. Are you ready to do this? Or this is one area where I really could use your help. Can I count on you? Setting them up in that way is successful, rather than saying, it's a higher version of what I was talking about earlier. I think that conversation comes when you've tried that. And it's sort of like, now you have to decide, what do you want? Because I've tried to help us get there. Do you want this or not? So I think you can have many levels before getting to that. And the first one is just sort of saying, let's make this easy. This is what I need. Does this work for you? What do you need? I think that will help. Okay. As we look now at we're going to go to the expanded forecast, by the way. That's the high level energy for this month. Now we're going to expand it to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. And in doing so, you're going to get a little bit more of a feel for all the different aspects of your life and the messages that we've talked about. Health is mind, body, and spirit. And what we saw here was that really opening up. This is your third eye. This is that little spirit fox that I saw here. So my question for you again is, what can you do to, first of all, are you ready for the change? Do you know where you want to go? And are you ready to kind of sit there and think through it? It's going to involve some planning. When I think back to kind of like maybe 15 or 20 years ago, I was talking to a family member earlier when I was getting together everything I was going to talk about. And one of the things that I realized, even for myself, is I think I was just showing up and seeing what was going to happen. I didn't really have a plan. When you're younger, when you're in your 20s and 30s, sometimes you just don't plan it out. You wing it. I think it would be more powerful for you in September and in your life in general if you stop winging it. I want you to be open to go with the flow. Clearly, there's some intuition is about being open to new insights, but I want you to kind of figure out this month about what it is that you truly feel called to do. So listen for the calling, the soul or the higher self. That's the part where you just kind of say, I'm ready, I'm open, I'm listening. And you can ask questions like, what brings me joy? What makes me feel fulfilled? You can also go with the reverse side, which is maybe the don't list, which is, what leaves me feeling tired or angry or frustrated. If it's your job, if it's your relationship, if it's something else in your life, then you know, I don't want to focus on that now. What's left? Sometimes exclusionary listing is good, but I want you to also be inclusive about some of the stuff. I like this. This makes me happy. This brings me a sense of sort of fulfillment. Focus on that. And then observe as you start to kind of clarify this, where things start to open up. You have at least 2 opportunities that want to knock on the door, because we have the 4 of Cups showing 1 towards the beginning of the month. There might be one that's coming back to you because we have the 5 of Cups in the past. So maybe there's something that you can go back and pick up that you forgot about, or that you didn't, that you kind of let slip through your fingers. So observe both the past and the present, and that as you start to walk into the future, new things will come through for you. Specifically looking at health, looking at the cards themselves, 4 of Cups and the Strength card. How much are you focusing on your own well-being? Are you giving yourself the proper time to exercise, to stretch? Because even with the Hanged Man, there's, you know, sort of like being stagnant in one place too much. I feel like some of you also might be dealing with some emotional challenges, because we have straight across the center 5 of Cups, 4 of Cups, and the Moon. And to me, that's mental health and strength right on top of it. So we focus a lot on the exterior, but you have to focus on this and on this. So mental health comes through loud and clear. And I think having some limits when it comes to how much you splurge on things. With the 3 of Cups, sometimes we can self-medicate when we're stressed out. So, you know, a glass of wine becomes 2 or 3, or a snack becomes like the whole cake or whatever. So I would say a little bit is fine, moderation is fine, but really take care of yourself physically and mentally this month. It's really those 2 pieces that are the most important, finding balance within and paying attention to the signs that are coming through. If anything pops up, if you feel like something's wrong, or you notice something's not the way it should be, go to the doctor with this card as well. It's just really about not being afraid. The Moon card can be fear, but a lot of times it's irrational. And I'm not seeing like the Devil or the Tower or anything like that in the spread. So I think it's just about informing yourself. And that's also listening to the whisper, though. So we were talking about the Spirit Fox and listening to the whisper of the universe. That's what the Observe card is saying. And for your health and your happiness, you already know what you need to do. And this is basically saying honor that. As we go into wealth, it feels like it's time to get into something that is more supportive, isn't as difficult of an ascension or a climb, and is showing you more consistent signs of, yes, this is it. Like I already said, success sometimes is a struggle. You have to push sometimes. You go against the flow. And I mentioned earlier that your singular approach may sometimes make other people not understand what's going on. It can confound them. But along that journey, there should be something that feels like, but it was really easy to do. So if you are an artist, sometimes if something comes out really quickly, whether it's like composing a song, making a painting, writing a book, coming up with a choreographed dance routine, et cetera, sometimes you're in the flow of that. And it's just like, oh my gosh, this. The flow in and of itself can be the signal for you. I need to do more of that. And sometimes when you are not in the flow, pay attention to what's around you, and remembering that the environment is also a mirror of what's not working within you. So if your job is really stressful and everyone is kind of like pushing you down and not supporting you, it could also be your soul saying like, why am I doing this? What is this about? Is this really fulfilling me? It's filling my bank account, but it's not fulfilling me. So how can I get into something that I feel more reciprocity with, more flow? Once you do, then it's smoother sailing. And I can speak from experience. Like I used to work more, I work just as many hours because I have multiple lines of business. I do this, I see clients, and I have a writing career as well. And I have a couple of companies. So I work about 6 days, sometimes 7 days a week. But I don't feel as tired now as when I had a corporate job, because I get to design my schedule. I decide which days I'm going to see you, which days I'm going to see clients, and I figure out the schedule for the launch of my book. So I have autonomy, but it took me a long time, everyone. It took me about 6 years to get here. And I work all the time, like I said, but I'm in the flow because it feels good. Like when I woke up this morning, it's kind of fun to tap into the energy and see what's coming through for Sagittarius. I care a lot about you and I want to see what's happening. So when you're in the flow, the work isn't as bad. It doesn't feel like work. It feels like you're being supported. So one of the prayers that I say a series of 4 or 5 prayers, but one of them is, allow me to be a clear channel to say the right things to the right people and the right words at the right time. And that's one of the prayers that I say before I start. If you read cards, you should connect to the divine and you should open yourself up to higher guidance. When I surrender to that, it's not that I'm working and I get tired after this. I have to take a nap usually after a reading, but the words come through me. I don't have to cognitively think about them because I've connected already. If you can do this in your life, if you can say, connect me to the right opportunities that will help me fulfill my soul purpose and let me do the right things at the right time, you can also be there. That's the synchronicities, rather than, I'll show up. Maybe they'll notice me today. I'll wear a different shirt. The shirt will help. Maybe you'll get a compliment. But when it comes to the bigger thing, they may not be noticing you because this isn't your flow. This isn't the space. This isn't the time. And what I've noticed in my life is when I keep pushing my head against different blocks, it's also kind of like a maze. The universe can sort of see the higher way out of it. And if I could just allow myself to wait for a second, I could probably think, this isn't it. I'm going to go this direction instead. So trust that. Trust the flow or the lack of flow. It's actually showing you if you should be there or not. Bringing it into a more sort of, I know a lot of you want to know what's going on with money or work. Okay, the main thing this month is to be balanced. I believe you actually can make it work. What you have, you can make work. But there's not a lot of room for something else. Like I said, there's a sacrifice that has to happen in time, scope, or budget. So make a decision. Don't overextend yourself. Say no if you need to. In work relationships, you're going to have to talk about stuff that's uncomfortable. If someone's not doing their job, bring it up sooner than later. But try to make them feel like you want them to stick around and that this is for the mutual benefit of everyone. And then take a moment to celebrate your success, wherever you're at. If it's your own path, like look at how far you've come. If you're going through a hard time right now, look at how you've overcome it before. Trust that you will come through this, and also lean on your friends. It's their turn to help you. For some of you, I feel like that's the case because we've got the Page of Cups reverse and the Four of Wands reverse. So reach out and say, hey, do you know anyone that can help me with this? Or I'm looking to change careers. Do you know anybody? Or would you take a chance on me? Because you know who I am and you know I'm vetted. So there you go. Those are your work messages. As we look at love, divine timing is at work in your love life. So if you're with someone, great. If you're not, it's okay. If you're alone and happy, awesome. Right now, there is a little bit of a wait. Don't give up. I told you, you're holding space, some of you. You want to hold space for the best possible person to come through. You don't want to have to constantly sort of be coaxing or hurting or leading them into what you need. It'd be great to have someone with equal energy. Focus this month on your work. And that really is why in your attic space here, it's the Three of Pentacles. And that's kind of like your head space. So it is about working on yourself. If you're looking for love, I see love coming through. It looks to me like it's a water sign. Could be a Scorpio, could be a Pisces, could be Cancer. But what we're looking at here is it the right timing? I'm not so sure. If it's new love coming into your life, make sure that you have the same expectations and the same feelings, because what I see here is commitment versus non-exclusivity. So either you're in an open relationship or the two of you might have different perspectives. As I said, for existing relationships, it really boils down to how much you're paying attention to each other, how truthful you're being with one another, and also how committed. Commitment like that, the sort of desire to want to work on the relationship, it can ebb and flow over time. You have a choice. Are we going to work on it or are we not? And I think that's what happens for those of you that might be in a relationship. But right now, if things feel like they've kind of plateaued, it's all right. Everything that, like I said, if it's something that's worth creating in your life, it takes time and energy. Sometimes if you're really trying to call in a high partner, you're picky, you're discerning. You could go out to the supermarket and talk to somebody, but if you're really waiting for the right person, it might take a little bit longer, okay? Finally, looking at destiny, we have shifting universes. I like this card a lot. So you are creating something new for yourself. You're in a really big shift right now, a new sort of dimension. And so don't be afraid to allow for that to kind of take you where it needs to. Let's go ahead and summarize, because I'm a little bit over time, but there was a lot that needed to come through. Then we'll go into the soul space, and then we'll do a meditation. Thanks for being patient. Your sign had a little bit more message-wise, and that's how it's been going over the past month or two, so thank you so much. All right, so we're going to quickly move through all of the messages and a quick review of this, and then I'll get into the soul space and meditation. All right, so the big first column of messages that I got was really about clearing. I said clear mental, energetic, and actual cobwebs. So letting go of items in your house, letting go of old ways of thinking. This is going to help you with that new energetic flow, with creating the new world. This could ostensibly be the world card if you want it to be. And that involves a change, a big change of career, of living situation, of even relationship status. Hold space for something even better, especially if you do decide to part ways. That is something that could happen with the cards that are in front of me. Where are you headed? Why are you headed there? What do you really want? State your intention. When you do that, you actually start to get the oars. You're not just floating on a raft, and the universe is there to basically show up. And then instead of a serendipitous or a happy accident sort of event, you're going to fall into something that is a synchronicity instead, a powerful, clear sign that you're on the right track and you're doing the right thing. Listen to your heart, listen to your dreams. Trust your higher judgment this month. It's not going to lead you astray. Remember also that the universe speaks with a whisper. So just like this little spirit fox, it's not always going to come through in some big loudspeaker. You have to be open to what it's saying. Happiness is within. Everything around you is a mirror of what you're calling in. The sooner you understand what you're trying to teach yourself, the easier it is to kind of allow for these things to go into a higher space. Bless everything, even the kind of tough things in your life. And once you change yourself, the things around you are going to change as well. You know, as a sort of, this card fits nicer with that message too. I want to just say the universe has your back. That gratitude and heartfelt appreciation will open up more abundance. The toolkit that I'd love for you to kind of play around with is faith, hope, perseverance, knowing that these are going to help you as you go into those higher things that you're working towards. And, you know, they take work. Anything that's great requires effort. But as you work through all those twists and turns, then you have the context that you need and the grounding that you need to sustain the abundance that you're opening up. Otherwise, you might achieve something, but you won't know how to hold on to it. And ultimately, all this clearing is really asking you, are you ready to grow? There's some changes at hand. Are you ready to make them? Feel like you're going to be moving between these two phases this month of introspective and then also kind of listening to the higher self and the signs and signals around you. The spirit fox can be serendipity. It can also be the moon card, which is to deprogram or reprogram yourself and follow your heart. 4 of Cups, 5 of Cups. There's opportunities around you. Some are right by you and you might be missing them. Some you might have already passed up, but you might have a second chance. Look at these. You have a lot of leadership abilities and a lot of really strong energy that can breathe fire into those again if you want them to sort of come to fruition. Be patient. The patience especially is coming through for those of you that are waiting for something to happen or the right relationship or the right connection. Keep working on yourself. Keep working on what matters. That's the important thing this month. As we said, trust your vision and realize that this 3 of Cups they're really right here watching, waiting, trying to figure you out. You have more skills and more leadership than you may give yourself credit for. People don't tell you all the time when you're doing things right. They tend to focus on what you do wrong. So I'm just giving you a little bit of positive accolades there. As long as you keep working on yourself and on things that matter, the universe will support you. Trust your intuition. It's coming through loud and clear here. There's a choice this month between time, budget, and scope. You're going to have to figure out how to balance that. And if you do that, success is at hand. Relationships this month also require a little bit of balance. And the main thing that I'm seeing here is, what are you both looking for? It seems like there's reciprocity for some of you, commitment for some of you, trust, honesty, and faith. All of it can be worked out, but there's a question of what you want. I feel like for some of you, that's just not what you're looking for, and there's nothing wrong with that. For those of you single, I'm just seeing a lot of great opportunities to meet new people, get stuff done. Just focus on getting stuff in writing, by the way. The moon card is not something that you want to come through like for a handshake or a verbal agreement. You need it in writing. Princess of Cups reverse is saying make sure that, again, that reciprocity is there. Listen to signs, they abound. If you're in the flow, you're on the right track. If you're not, it's time to evaluate why you are not. Timing is at hand when it comes to relationships. Trust that it will work out. Impatience actually will just bring in a different actor, but not the right one. So be patient. And know that basically what I'm seeing with the shifting universe, it's like the world card. And actually in the top deck, I think it's called Universe or Eon or something like that. So understand that as you're getting into a new world and a new creation, what this might involve a change of job, a change of relationship status, or you just changing your opinion on things. Let's go ahead now and look at past, present, and future. And then we'll do a slightly abbreviated meditation, but we'll still do a meditation. So looking at the past, I want to look specifically at Four of Cups, Five of Cups, and the Hanged Man. Is there something that you can tap into again? Is there something that you need to pay attention to? And let's look at that now. All right, so what from the past is coming through that is deserving of a second glance, a little bit more discernment? Okay, so we have the Seven of Cups, a lot of cups. Some of you are overthinking, and some of you are maybe looking in the wrong direction. Now, the Seven of Cups was reversed, so this is exactly what I was saying earlier, which is make a choice. Sometimes brainstorming is good. Sometimes it just creates too many things. Even in the Seven of Cups, notice how there's one right here, and it's like, hello, pay attention to me. So I feel like the main thing for you this month is to sort of pick a direction or pick a lane and swim in it and go forward. That decision doesn't mean that you can't do the other things. It just means that right here and right now, it's going to be more powerful if you focus. You can talk to somebody too if you kind of need to bounce your ideas. I still think you want to follow your own intuition, but there is something powerful about being able to sort of work your way through something mentally with somebody. So the main thing for you is the sooner you can make a choice. Sorry, this deck is gigantic. The sooner you can make a choice, the better. But it actually chose the next card for you because it was upright. So we're going to talk about it, Ace of Wands. So as I look at the present situation, I want to focus on you being able to really surrender to the idea at hand. To me, the Ace of Wands connects with the Three of Pentacles. This is a big idea, and this is the execution on that idea. So notice on this particular, I've never really looked at how it was illustrated before, but we see this this animal here that's kind of looking at the chasm between the two different sides of the hill. And there's a choice, like, how am I going to get there? I know what I want to do. I have this big eureka moment, but how do I actually get there? So that's a good question, and that's going to be the research part of this. But I think that sometimes when it comes to big ideas, it's more important to do a little bit more development on what this could mean. And then when it comes to the execution, this is when you pull in a bigger team. I think the answer is not alone, and you're probably going to need to build a bridge. So you're going to need someone to help you. You may have, for some of you, this could be like you're more of a designer mentality. You're going to need to pull in a technical person to help it function. Or it could be the reverse, where you're an engineer and you know how something should work, but you can't always make it look pretty. So I feel like there's a symbiotic relationship here that's coming through. And so don't worry. I would say finish developing your idea and then seek out the right team. Just make sure that they have the same sensibility that you have, okay? In relationships, in life, and everything, what I'm seeing with this is the path, the decision, the understanding is the important piece. you're going to have plenty of time to figure out all of the tactical ways to make it work. Don't give up on something because it looks like it's too much of a reach. Just talk to some people, do some work, you'll figure it out. Trust me, you can do it. I don't have a business degree, but I figured out how to create businesses. I figured out how to, work with contracts and things like that. It just takes time and it's a pain in the butt, but you can do it. You just have to kind of allow yourself to go there. All right, in the future, we have the Three of Cups, the Moon, the Cup, the Princess of Cups card. I want to look at what is your true commitment? Where's your heart taking you? All right, so we have Five of Swords, which is a discernment card. Looking at experiences from the past. Who are you ready to release in your life? Who's been sort of sitting there in the sidelines, but not really showing up the way they need to show up? What parts of your communication can you improve in the future so that there's a lot more clarity? How much of this is actually due to maybe indecisiveness? Because sometimes with the Five of Swords, communication breaks down, but it usually can be improved when there's a clear line of what is expected, what is acceptable, and really what you want. So I think as you start to step into finding your voice and knowing your vision, you are going to be able to have better communication, better relationships with people moving forward. Protect that vision. If we look at this, first of all, you need to trust yourself and know yourself. These two cards are coming through. This is a result of this. If you don't know what you're doing, or if you don't trust yourself, someone else will come in and say, I might be able to step in and show them that they really don't know. So know thyself, and then the Five of Swords falls away. And then all you're left with is the Ace of Wands, which is the big idea, and your chance to go after that, and your chance to pull in the right people. Don't doubt yourself. Stop second guessing. Be decisive and honor that big vision, whatever it is in your life. And then you're not going to have this come through, okay? My goal a lot of times is either to elevate or eliminate certain cards. And in this case, I think you can actually eliminate the Five of Swords by really getting into the Seven of Cups and saying, this is what I want. This is how I'm going to do it. And I'm going to figure the other stuff out. I don't know it yet, but I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to ask the right questions and it'll work out. Okay. Let's go into your meditation. Before I started today, as I was saying my prayers and intentions, I actually received the meditation. So we're going to go into the water. If you have a fear of water, you can just imagine that you're kind of like floating in the air or something. It will work the same. But we're going to, I want to try to give you the oars or give you the direction. Find your compass, basically, okay? So before I do the meditation, if you have a moment to just hit like and subscribe, I would love it. It helps people discover the channel. It will help you know when I do my next reading. If you've stuck around this long, you might as well do that. So thank you. And I'm going to do, like I said, a sound bath as part of this as well. So hopefully you can stick around. This will just be a few minutes and then we'll wrap up after that. All right. Close your eyes for a moment. And I really like... I like the imagery actually on this Ace of Wands card. You could imagine that maybe you're at the bottom of this hill looking out at the water or something, but you see this beautiful forest energy around you. And kind of sitting against that cliff, feeling the support on your back, I want you to look out at everything around you and sort of see what's possible. Maybe imagine that you're at the top of the hill. That's better. We'll walk down to the water after that. I think it's important first to get perspective. So a lot of times I talk about hiking and how sometimes coming up the hill, it feels like it's so much work. But let's imagine that you've actually gotten to the top of this hill and you're looking out at the expansive horizon around you. And there are trees, there is a beautiful body of water, and you're just surrounded by nature and beauty in all directions. The city's far off in the distance, and what's nice about that is you're not encumbered by the sounds of sirens or the sounds of any of the kind of distractions that we have in a city. It's just the sound of the wind blowing through your ears and through the trees. It's just the sound of birds as they're flying over the water. You can smell beautiful clover leaf blossoms in the distance. And it's just this sense that everything is going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. I want you to look out into the distance, look at the water. And from here, things can be a little bit hazy, a little bit shady. It's kind of hard to figure out what's going on. Sit down against a tree and ground yourself in the earth beneath you. And I want you to allow for your mind and body to travel outside of your physical body. So I just plant yourself almost like a tree, feel that you are rooted in the planet. As you take this next breath, I want you to imagine that you could exit through your third eye, just your energy, and you're going to go into the distance, go towards the water. This will help those of you that might have a fear of the water. And I want you to feel like you could just float for a moment on top of the water. Feel the support of that element, of the fluid motion of the water, even energetically speaking. It's more powerful here with your energy because the water can move through you. It can also clear, cleanse, and help you see things that you couldn't see if you were in your physical body. And for those of you that are afraid, like, how do I get back to my body? There's this little string of energy that you've held on to. So you can tug that, you feel your body, you're okay. Imagine now that you have the capacity in energy to create anything that you want. You could create a raft, you could create a boat, you could create a ship rather, and shift your energy and your perspective towards anything. You have this sort of shape-shifting power. So see yourself creating a boat, and I want you to now pick a direction. What is it that you want? Is it a relationship? Is it personal development? Is it freedom? Pick something and take a couple of oars now that you also have energetically, and I want you to move in that direction. And imagine that that direction is towards the sun, which is going to allow you with each stroke of the oars to get a little bit more energy, a little bit more momentum, a little bit more power, and a little bit more clarity. I'm going to play the singing bowl for a moment, and then we'll come back afterwards and bring that clarity back into your body. So enjoy, and I'll be right back. Take a deep breath. Allow this breath to actually push this boat, this cosmic sort of vessel that you've created, further towards your desired destination. See that now that you're upon a new shore, a new world, that shifting universe that we saw. And now see your body actually there. It's made the journey with you. And I want you to step onto the new shore and step into this new body, into this new world, and look around you. How do you look? How do you feel? How does it feel to be closer to your goal? What is it going to be like when you get there? A lot of times with manifestation, it's effective to feel that sense of accomplishment even before it's happened, because it's a reassurance on a soul level to yourself and to the universe that you know it's going to happen. You feel supported and you're holding that vision. It's a truth that's just waiting for you to find it. It's the 4 of Cups, it's the 5 of Cups, it's the 7 of Cups. There's so much, even though these are emotional cards, they're actually cognitive ones, because they are about perspective that's potentially been missed or thoughts that have been pushed into a direction that they don't need to be. You've left your old you behind. This new version of yourself is here, and you don't need to go back. This is a new world, a new shore, a new day, and I want you to embrace it for all of the opportunity and abundance that it brings. Take your hands, rub them together, feel that you are integrating now this new self, this new body. Bless the past, because it is the past. We actually went from the past into the present and into the future. And so you're going to let the old stuff go. Put your left hand on your heart, your right hand on top of that, and feel the energy, feel the power that you have. Honor that and just be grateful for showing up today. I certainly am. Thank you so much. Thank you for being a part of today's reading, and more importantly, for consistently showing up and working on yourself. That's the best gift. That's the best power here that you could give to yourself. I'd like to take a brief moment just to thank everybody. We went a little bit over today, but important messages. I can't always control the timing. So thanks for sticking around for the reading. For those of you that showed some support, thank you so much. I will, later today, I'll pin a comment with all your names and just say thank you. I appreciate you being present. All of the stuff that I'm going to talk about is on my website, so I'm going to pull up the URL here. My website is nicholasashbaugh.com. If you can't remember how to spell my name, you can go to my picture if you're looking at it on the mobile device, and the About page, and all the links are there. I'd love for you to follow me on social media. My username is my name, Nicholas Ashbaugh. I use Instagram and Facebook a lot. I'll use the story capability within that to put links, but make sure you're following at Nicholas Ashbaugh, not a different one, because only on my professional page can I put links on the Facebook one. YouTube, you should check out the community tab if you've never done that. Like and subscribe, and then check that out, because I will post a picture of the stickies here later in the day. Give me a few hours. It takes time to get everything uploaded. I'm on TikTok as well. And if you want a way to support me on a monthly basis, you can either join me on Patreon, or there's an option here, which is to click the join button. It's the same perks basically, but you'll also get chat icons. Actually, because enough of you have joined, I'm going to add another emoji and things like that. And when I do Q&As, which I'll do one around the time I release my book later this year, you guys get a first dib at asking me questions. I go to Patreon and I go to the members first. So some perks here and there, which is nice. You can also support me through PayPal. It's the same address. Or the same username, Nicholas Ashbaugh. All those are on my website. Again, if you can't remember, the only thing that has a different name is my Twitter. It's at @Ashbaugh. And again, if you haven't hit like and subscribe, it's free, it's easy, it helps me a lot, and I appreciate it. All right, guys, we're way over, so I'm going to stop now. Much love and light to you. I will be back again on Friday, tomorrow, to read for the next sign. So please join me if you can. Otherwise, I'll see you again in a month's time. Wishing you much love, much light, much abundance. Thanks so much for showing up today. I appreciate you. All right.